All right, the DXY here. We're looking finished here. For the weekly. We're on the weekly chart, turning red. Right, we're waiting for the fall under the Gaussian channel. 102. If we get a 102, could happen this week. Next week, that would take out the 100-week EMA as well. Great sign. For when that happens, I think then we might see a little bit of a bump in crypto and stocks. Especially when we crack the 200 week and the 100 mark. I think psychologically, a lot of people, big money that tracks this, hedge funds, all that stuff. If they're not on board now, they will be there. I mean, this is the early signs, right? The weekly, right? It doesn't mean that. I mean, look how high above the channel we were here, and it was green, and still, like, crypto was still doing pretty good in through here, right? The stock market as well. It's really not until you have these bigger candles moving higher highs to you really get the jolt in the markets to the downside for the risk on assets. So same thing here. I think we don't get any kind of major move, like if Bitcoin's going to go to 40K or higher prices. I think it's going to take a big red candle, and not just these little like 0.5% weekly. I'm looking like something like this, like 1% plus. I know this doesn't sound like much to us in crypto, but we're looking to get a punch down, right? A massive move to the downside, and then you'll probably see a good awakening that we haven't seen just yet. But close, we're close, but it could take weeks and months to play out, right? I mean, we could just mess around in this channel for the next several months before we start to even try it, and then we come down here. I mean, before long, I mean, we could be talking about still above 100 come the end of this year, right? And then the major move to the downside for the DXY may not come till at the beginning of next year or something like that, because it's unlikely it's just going to keep bleeding out here. Let's put our squiggly line back. Maybe we get something even more or less like this, and then we kind of break down going into here, right? This would be ideal, something more or less. Even that looks pretty much ultimate down. But they do that, right? I mean, look at this line, right? So maybe we copy paste that, something like that. And this is why I think it's going to be longer than a 400-day downtrend, this traditionally, because when we flipped red before, we're already well under the channel, right? When we flip red, look where we are now. We flipped red and we're still here. So I think prolonged downtrend for the US dollar. And I put up a tweet also, I think late last week, about Janet Yellen's thinking that the US dollar, I mean, hello, we're working with, like, it's like Santa Claus saying Christmas is going to suck, right? So Janet Yellen thinking that the US dollar is going to be hurting. Again, prolonged downtrend. I think we're looking at, maybe 50% longer, right? We're looking at, I talked about this in my last DXY video, that 400 days on average doesn't really cut it. Right, that's just through next, this time next year. I think we're going to need to see the DXY, not only need, but I think we're going to get it. I would say 700, 800, 800 days, maybe 700 days. I would go on average. We'll see this red Gaussian channel here on the weekly, right? 400, 400. I think 400 here, 450 here. I think we'll see a big one here. With all the banks and stuff, makes sense, right? Crypto peaking 2 years from now, roughly, give or take. That's what I'm looking at. Lower 90s, and 700-800 days of red Gaussian channel on the weekly, and it can go longer, right? It's only going to help us. But my point of this is, if I had to sum up, is we haven't even started the bearishness yet, and crypto's doing okay so far, right? I mean, we're 2x off the ground, and the DXY has just done this, right? It's just taken its breather. It hasn't even got to the sword fight yet. So I think the good times are still well ahead, and I think the DXY and the US dollar is in deep trouble over the next several years.